You have to get to my garden, you have to come out the back door, which I had John replace this door with an old-fashioned wood screen door because I like the sound of it. And then you come out and there's this little area here, which there's the gate and the pile that I showed you from the front. And this area we call the bistro because eventually when John has his kitchen in this area, this gate will be gone and this will be a continuous line and that will be the kitchen. And then this area we're going to put a bistro table in. We're going to brick a little bit more of it in and it will be under this false mulberry. And people will sit there and watch John in his kitchen. But they have to get over the fact that right here, the little walk beside me and be my friend, that's Spike's grave. Hello, little dog. He decided to come out with me. And then above that is this wrought iron cross that I bought with my sister. So when you come out the back door, that's your view. And it's Spike's grave. And I always put little flowers in his grave, and these have to tolerate shade, and so to be simple I put in impatiens. And then right here is the pump. This pump right here was actually in John's front yard. That's what he pumped water from when he was a kid. And we went back. The house is no more, but the pump was still standing, so we took it home with us. And this is a salsa garden, which I really need to move that pepper plant out a little bit. But there's just one tomato, some jalapenos, and a green pepper. There's a dog barking. Irritating. Anyway, so my dog. Actually, you would think he was yappy. No, he's not, is he? Are you yappy? No, you're not, are you? You know when to bark. Do you need to go inside? Are you cold? You shivering? You shivering? Okay, so where was I? Anyway, there's a dog barking and it's irritating. And then you come out and you're on the patio proper, which I finally this year stained the pavers a dark gray. I wanted it to look like granite, and I think it came out pretty good. And then John cooks here when he cooks, but soon he'll have a kitchen over there where he can cook. And maybe put a chaise lounge here instead. And this is a rubber tree plant that I'm growing for Casey. Just showed you, and this is where I sit here. And there's a saying in my family, especially when they come to my house, that if it looks like a leaf, it's probably an ashtray. Anyway, and that's my pond. And most people know why I decided on a formal pond instead of a natural shape, and that was because I've already done a natural shape pond, and this was to break away from doing that. So, and I made each one of these pavers out of cement, and I pressed, like in there, I pressed cattails and other leaves that were blooming in the garden at the time, and each one was made individually because I only had one form, and then I had to press the leaves in. And I used cement that had a lot of peat in it. I mixed peat in with the cement so that it would have little holes and areas of interest, to the stone itself. And then again, I used cement stain, and I stained it the color of jasper. And there is a lily in there. It's slowly getting leaves day by day, and there's a lot of tadpoles in there. And I'd love to have cattails, but I don't. And this coming weekend we will add some fish and probably some floating hyacinth and some underwater plants. This is the first part of the Oki path, And all of these bricks have been gathered around from ghost towns in Oklahoma, as John and I. And the path widens up that way. It's real narrow here, next to the vinca, really large planting of vinca. And I wanted that to take off my whole yard, but it's not doing it, and so I came up with an alternative, which I'll show you in a minute. This little bridge we built, we had to replace one board, first time in 5 years. And then as you look out there, I haven't cleaned up the back yet, but getting to it. I've cleaned up the rose garden, that's the rose garden, and then over there in that direction I'll be relaying the path to the compost heap. You'll actually see a path back there. Maybe I'll do a film later in the season when there's not so much blooming and when it's mostly green. And that's a chimenea where I light fires sometimes when I'm cold. And we have not replaced the cushions on this. So I want to replace them this year. And I'm kind of contemplating finally making the cushions, because they're special cushions, since these are original wrought iron that belonged to my Aunt Sally's air conditioner just came on. And then belonged to my grandmother, but they were in my Aunt Sally's house when I was growing up. My Aunt Sally's was wealthy and lived down in Texas. And this is Missy's fairy lantern she gave me, and it hangs from my giant pin oak here. And that's my workbench. A little trash can there, works by a pedal. And I have all my little things that I use pretty much daily, and some interesting rocks that, if I do bonsais, those are still left to go into a bonsai. The ones on the very end are actual Indian artifacts. One's a real tomahawk, and the other is a real pestle from a grain crushing implement. I don't know what to do with those. And there's my honeysuckle and my little window that I look out from my kitchen. And then this leads to the fairy mound, which I will show you in another film because that's in the outback. And there's a bird feeder out there, and I'll show you that in an outback. And I'm going to plant this year a dogwood right there, a really small one, and see if I can't keep it bonsai'd in the garden underneath the pin-up, since dogwoods like shade. And so that's basically the patio portion of. Someday I'll have a chaise lounge, and someday John will have a kitchen where you can cook all kinds of stuff down that way. And that's it. What do you think?